Hello there. Welcome back to Winning the Division, episode number 12. It is hard to believe we are week 10 of the NFL season as myself, co-host Ryan Smith, alongside former University of Florida and NFL tight end Ben Troupe, played for the Oakland Raiders at the time, Tampa Bay Bucks, and most notably the Tennessee Titans. Well, Ben, we are, like I said, 10 weeks away through the season. Before we get into, I'd switched up tonight. Before we get into our players of the week and not so players of the week, let's just go through just big highlights. We can go through the actual games in a little bit, but what were just main takeaways from week 10 as a whole? Anything that really stuck out to you among all the games?
I mean, all you had to do, Denver, is just field goal. Just block it up. No, just all you had to do. And Kansas City will have their first loss. Sean Payton, Bo Nix. But you got last, and I'm going to keep saying this, Smitty. You notice that Kansas City wins a different way every week? So one day it may be throwing, maybe passing, maybe defense, but because they don't care. They don't. Not only do they not care how they win, I don't think Patrick Mahomes has gotten past stats. I don't care. I don't care about throwing for 400 yards. I want to win. Mm-hmm. Right? Here's another thing that stood out. If your quarterback can throw 5 interceptions and you still win, that makes you a very dangerous team.
The Detroit Lions and Jared Goff is who he's referring to.
I am referring to Jared Goff because sometimes we forget they pay the defense too. So you talk about a Houston Texans team that needed a win in the worst way, got all the momentum, got on. They win already. It was a sea of red going on. In the Houston Texans, in Houston on Sunday night. But shout out to them Detroit Lions. Because guess what the Detroit Lions have learned to do? They don't care how they win either.
Nope.
They don't care. They just want to win. They don't care. No Aiden Hutchinson, and they haven't lost since he got hurt. That makes them dangerous. And another thing that stood out, which I'm going to get to it, some of these offenses are hard to watch. And I'm gonna get to it, later on in the show. But I think sometimes, Smitty, no, I'm gonna tell you what stood out. I'm trying to avoid it. No, the Panthers got a winning streak. Y'all don't got.
Yes, they did. Yes, they did. We are on a winning streak.
They got a winning streak. And here's the thing: Bryce Young is having fun. Xavier Legette.
They have a swagger.
I mean, he over there eating the. Listen, whoever that reporter is that have to ask Legette questions, and you got to do follow-up questions, and you don't know what the word he's talking about. It looks like the Panthers. And look, sorry, Brian Burns. I know you thought, they got rid of me. I'm gonna get this. No.
So personally, I think his heart is still in Charlotte. His head is in New York playing for the Giants, but I think his heart's still in Charlotte. That's just my personal opinion. I don't think that's actually probably true, but he had some decent run stops yesterday, which was his weakness in Carolina. But as a whole, he had a sack yesterday, but that doesn't count because Bryce Young slipped on the second play of the game. Whatever. We'll get into it in a little bit. But yes, my Panthers are on a winning streak. I am very excited. 3-7 is not a lot to a lot of people, but for the Panthers, represents going into the bye coming up this week. 3 weeks in a row without a loss, if you count the bye this week, because you can't lose on a bye. So 3 weeks in a row now without a Panther loss. So I'm just saying, I'm counting the bye, like I said, this coming week. But that's
and my other thing that stood out, Russell, last name Wilson, has been balling right now. For the Pittsburgh Steelers, who are, for people who don't know, they are first in the division.
They're 7-2.
They are first in the division right now. Ravens are number 2. Cincinnati's number 3. And obviously, there's a team in Cleveland that, I guess
they're just there. They're just in the division, as we like to say.
And the worst division in football is the AFC South. It's not close. Don't ask me no questions.
Either. That's not good.
We're gonna get. I'm gonna do my best to not focus on these divisions. I'm going to focus on some of these players. But, Smitty, congratulations. Y'all actually beat a team that had a head coach. And my Falcons lost to a team with no head coach.
My big takeaway is the Eagles stomping the Dakless Cowboys, who Mike McCarthy's seat is hotter than fish grease right now. I think it's just almost a matter of time.
I think he wants to get fired. I'm gonna say that. I think Mike McCarthy is so sick of Dallas. They blinding the players. Why would you have a stadium which was opened up and you can't even see the ball? Come on, Jerry Jones.
Yeah. You mentioned Jared Goff and his 5 interceptions. They were still able to win the game. I thought that was pretty telling. CJ Stroud, just like the Jets game, didn't look comfortable, battered and bruised. Now, let's give Carlton Davis credit. That was a heck of an interception there on CJ Stroud. I think that he just made a really good play on the ball. So I'm not going to fault him for that one. But there were some other poor throws there by Stroud. But credit the Lions coming back to win that game, despite, like you said, Goff's interceptions, finding different ways to win. And I'm going to shout out my former Panther, Christian CMC McCaffrey, coming back for his first game. Bucks get the win in Tampa. Hard fought.
Ricky Pearsall, first career NFL touchdown.
Yes, Ricky Pearsall, Gator alum, first NFL touchdown after getting shot this offseason. So great storyline there from Ricky Pearsall. Christian McCaffrey only had 13 carries for 39 yards, but that's to be expected coming off his lengthy absence, if you will.
Yes.
And in Tampa Bay, they were able to get that win. And then the last one is actually the game we didn't mention. Sam Darnold threw 3 picks yesterday, and their defense saved his bacon yesterday. Definitely there was saving done on the defensive. Brian Flores and company said, Sam, we're going to pick you up, but let's try not to do this 3 interception thing every game against Mac Jones, of all people, who tossed 2 interceptions of his own. With Trevor Lawrence not playing in that game. The Jacksonville Jaguars is my other team I'm watching for head coach firing, Doug Peterson. Love the guy, great coach, Super Bowl champion with the Philadelphia Eagles, but
is he a great coach, or did he have a great season? I don't know. I could be wrong.
Yeah, we can debate that. But let's get to it. Our top players of the week transition out, and our not top players of the week positions, however you want to call it. I'll start first, and I'll have you follow me out. Lamar Jackson is my co-player of the week. So one of 2 for me. I think it's not an overreaction to say he's probably going to win his 3rd MVP at this point. I don't think it's an overreaction to say that at all. He has been balling. Joe Burrow was a menace in this game as well, but unfortunately, despite throwing for 4 football fields and 4 touchdowns, he doesn't have much protection. He doesn't have a lot around him outside of Jamar Chase. But Lamar, 4 touchdowns on his own, 290 yards passing. Derrick Henry added 1 on the ground as well. And then my man Tylan Wallace with that sneaky touchdown that looked like it was going to go over about 10 yards, and he just took it to the distance. Shout out to Lamar Jackson playing it like an MVP is my co-player of the week. And then I know, people are going to laugh at me, but I'm okay. That's okay. Bryce Young, Carolina Panthers. I'm just going to say it. Yes, the box score was not that pretty. Yes, the Panthers won 20-17 against Daniel Jones, of all people. But Bryce was 15-25, 126 yards, and a touchdown, 60% completion percentage. Okay. There were a couple throws in this game that you got to have it throws. 3rd and 8, about 2 minutes to go. He finds Xavier Legette down the seam. Great ball to the sideline to keep the chains moving. And there was no way, and you know what, that Bryce Young was doing that in week 1 and 2 of this season, and much less most of the games last season. Because 1, he didn't have the protection, or B, if he had the protection, the receivers weren't getting open. So when you have receivers who are getting open, and when you have a line to protect you, shout out Panthers GM Dan Morgan for giving Bryce this protection this offseason with the additions of Robert Hunt and Damian Lewis. Bryce Young, he just played outstanding football. Again, not perfect, but efficient and enough, and was able to get the Panthers, like you said, been 2 games in a row. Now the Panthers have won their first winning streak. Yes, I said it, since 2021. That's not a typo. First winning streak since 2021. That is my co-players of the week, Lamar Jackson and Bryce Young. My not-so team of the week is actually more of a team, not necessarily one player. It's the New York Jets. I think they are a sunken ship, and they are at the bottom of the Titanic. They're just sunk. They're gone. Sauce Gardner missed the key tackle late in the game. Aaron Rodgers all over the place. Garrett Wilson did not do himself any favors despite his couple good games that he had racked up. Breece Hall, 52 yards on just 10 carries, 5 catches for Garrett Wilson for just 41 yards. And listen, Jonathan Gannon has been building this Arizona Cardinals team, but it's not like there are a bunch of world beaters out there. Buda Baker's on the back end, but who I couldn't name anybody in the front end for the Arizona Cardinals. I'm just being honest. I can't name anybody up there. I can name on the offensive side of the ball, but on the defensive side of the ball, So the Jets, I think, they're done. Let's not kid ourselves. They're done. They are the Titanic at the bottom of the lake, at the bottom of the ocean. They are done. 3-7. There's no one coming to rescue them. They've already fired their coach. The interim is on his way out too. Rodgers, I think, is going to be on his way out too. He says he's not, but we all know Rodgers says one thing and does another. We just don't know what's going to happen there. But this team is a long way from contention. And Ben, doesn't it seem like the media always just hypes them up every year because they're in New York and they're just the New York media. They want to see the Jets do well. Haven't won a Super Bowl since Joe Namath. Well, guess what? They're still just the Jets. And they're still going to be just the Jets until there's a lot more change coming in the Big Apple. So give me the New York Jets as my not so player team of the week.
Let's love Lamar Jackson. Love talk about them Jets. Here's mine though. Here's mine. I'm gonna start with my players. I'm gonna do players, not so players, but I'm also gonna start with my player / group. I'm gonna do groups in both ones. My player is a guy that no one wants to talk about because no one expects him to still be making plays at this stage of his career. Kyler Murray. See, the thing about Kyler Murray is, right, when he plays bad, we talk about him real bad. But I counted for 3 touchdowns, 2 touchdowns rushing, on Sunday with a big win. Yeah, we look at who he was playing, we get it, but I like the way he's playing when they're taking care of the football. My number 2 is Jared Goff. Because sometimes, right, you got to keep playing. Yes, he did not have a good game overall, but he kept playing. Yes, had 2 touchdowns and 5 interceptions, but they got the win, Smitty. So I got to respect it. And Jalen Hurts, finding a way to get it going. It's not his fault. Yes, it's the Eagles and the Commanders right now. But he had 4 touchdowns, 2 rushing, 2 passing. And that's those are my 3 players of the week. My 3. Here's my group of the week. The Patriots defense had 9 sacks on Sunday. They had 9. So when people get to talking about, dude, how in the world, 9 sacks? There might be some teams that might be hard to get 9 sacks for a season. They got 9 sacks in one game. So when you get to talking about how bad is your offensive line, well, they played Chicago. It's bad. And we're gonna get to that. But 9 sacks. Shout out to Gerard Mayo for keeping his team going. Because no one expected, these teams to be good. We just talked about the Jets got 3 wins, so do the Patriots. Now my not player of the week, Kirk Cousins. Let me tell you something. Kirk Cousins has been on fire the last 2 or 3 weeks. It's not so much they lost the game; it's what he did. You're trying to go down, for a game time field goal, get in field goal range. It is 4th, and I want to say 7. And he did the Cardinal sin, Smitty. He threw it about 4 yards from the sticks. And what happened? He gets tackled, game over. Come on. That's not a real football play. No. You expect him to throw it to him. They're in zone defense, so they're going to let you catch it underneath and just come up and make the tackle. Come on, Kirk Cousins. He's my favorite cousin because he has to be. But Kirk Cousins is my not player. I could have got a bunch of not players of the week, but he's my not. My second not player of the week is also Deebo Samuels. You pushing long snappers? Really? Really? That's what
it's water under the bridge there now. Come on now.
It is water under the bridge now, but come on, man. First, and let me tell you something, Debo. Let me tell you what I didn't like about that. It's because of who it was and not what they did. I get you were frustrated because of what's not going on. You ain't gonna push no other teammate like that. Stop with the nonsense. And I wish, and the long snapper still got to show some level of restraint, even though he's the one getting disrespected on live TV about Debo. Debo, you are not a bully. Sit your behind down. But I ain't like it. But instead of doing, I did some groups because these things, and all of them are offenses. All of them are. Because their offense have been downright offensive. I'm finna give you these numbers. The Cowboys offense. I know they had Cooper Rush. Cooper Rush went 13 of 23 for 45 yards. They scored 6 points. Yeah. Right? You got the Jags. Mac Jones, 14 to 22, 111 yards, 2 picks. They scored 7 points. You got the Jets. You got the bad man, or now he's playing bad. Aaron Rodgers, 22 of 35, 151 yards. They scored 6 points.
Yeah.
Right? CJ Stroud in the offense. Not necessarily because the defense gave you 5 turnovers and you didn't do nothing with them. 23 points wasn't enough to get the win. And obviously, Chicago's offense. Caleb Williams, 16 to 30, 120 yards. Let me tell you something about Chicago's offense that people don't know. They haven't scored an offensive touchdown in 23 quarters. They haven't scored an offensive touchdown in 23 quarters. Why is that important? Number one, I don't think their head coach is the right head coach. If you want to look at the winning strategy, listen. Go look no further than Washington. What did Coach Dan Quinn go out to do? Cliff Kingsbury. Why? Because I need a quarterback. I need an offensive guru and a quarterback whisperer. I get both of those in Cliff Kingsbury. Do I think Caleb Williams got a shot to be good? Yes. Is he going to be good with a defensive-minded coach? No. Is he going to be good with this type of offense? No. Because listen, Aduze, when you talk about, you got Aduze, you got DJ Moore, it don't matter. Those boys out there looking lost. I mean, it is bad, bad, bad. But for me, Chicago offense, the Texans offense, the Jets offense, the Jags offense, and the Cowboys offense. If you take away, here's how bad it is, Smitty. If you just take away the Texans offense, four NFL offenses, 4 of them, 12, 19, 4 NFL offenses accounted for 22 points together. Mm-hmm. That's what they scored. You cannot win like that. But yes, that's my groups of the week. Obviously, Kirk Cousins, and like I said, we can dive more into it. But I think, Smitty, when we get to watching good football, Bryce Young is playing good football. They're winning games. When you're not playing, in order to win games, your quarterback need to do 2 things. He need to play winning football and good offensive football. We mentioned Aaron Rodgers. Nope. Matt Jones. Nope. Cooper Rush, may God help you, sir, because I don't know what's going on with Dallas. CJ Stroud he just seems like out of whack. And everybody going to talk about losing your 2 number 1 receivers. I get that, but you still got plenty of weapons. Listen, Mechie for the Texans. No, but I'm saying Mechie scored his first NFL touchdown last night. A guy that had cancer coming out of Alabama, national champion. So I was super duper happy for him. And Caleb Williams. For those people who saying that Caleb Williams is already the worst first round quarterback ever, stop doing that. Caleb Williams has a defensive minded coach who has an offensive coordinator who obviously don't know how to put him in position to go out there and just push the ball down the field. But some of this stuff is rough. But it's going Shadur Sanders and Cam Ward and all these potential top 5 running quarterbacks. Y'all going to some bad teams. I mean, real bad. And, so when people ask why these players ain't playing well, the team is bad. And I don't get it, Smitty. Why do we keep talking about the Jets as being the Super Bowl contender? Is Joe Namath's grandson on the Jets? No.
No.
Super Bowl pretenders. Not contenders. No.
And we can get to this in the off-season podcast, but yeah, I mean, and it's not like this. Yes, Shadur Sanders, Cam Ward. Some people even say Carson Beck, but this quarterback class is not exactly.
Whoa! I heard it. Did you just say Carson Beck?
I did. There are some people.
Let me tell you something.
There are some people who believe he's a 1st to 2nd round pick, depending on who you're talking.
No. Now, 2nd round, get it. But remember before the season started, everybody talking about him potentially being the number 1 overall pick. I think that's kind of been put to rest a little bit.
Yes.
Over the full course of the season, especially after Saturday. And yes, I'm a Florida Gator fan. I have no room to talk. I get it. But I watch college football for 2 reasons: to watch my team win and my rivals lose. And thank you, George.
Well, yeah, we can talk about the draft in the offseason, but yeah, this quarterback class, some polarizing names, like you said, Cam Ward, Shadur Sanders, but this quarterback class not exactly a lot to write home about for a lot of these.
Do you think this, excluding excluding Jaden Daniels, even excluding Bo Nix, because he's been playing good. Do you, when we get to talking about quarterbacking, and particularly rookies, first round rookies, how much of a disadvantage is it on a guy like Caleb Williams? Even because no matter what, he's getting judged by two things. One, he's the number one overall pick, so you just expect him to play well. And he's going to a team like Chicago, who, outside of monsters of the Midway and all these tradition-rich teams, Chicago hasn't been good for a minute. And Smitty, and I'm asking that to say, what if you?
So I'll quote Jano Jeremiah from NFL Network, who is someone I've been trying to get on our podcast. So DG, if you're listening, DJ, love to get you on within the division, sir. Whenever you have time in your busy schedule. But to quote Jano Jeremiah, biggest issue for Caleb Williams, he said, is he's very tentative. He's not cutting it loose. He's trying too hard to avoid mistakes.
Yep.
He's guiding the ball. It's almost like it's been beat into him. He says, "Don't screw it up." The O-line isn't good, but that's the biggest problem right now. And I agree. I agree. It's almost as if Caleb is feeling like, just don't screw it up. Like,
hold on. Caleb Williams, number one overall pick, won the Heisman. Bryce Young, number one overall pick, won the Heisman. When you look at him, and yes, when you look at him, what is it about Caleb Williams that makes you think either one, I can see potential? Not and this is just your eyes, not Dan Jeremiah's, not all these analysts and comments.
Yeah.
When you watch Caleb Williams, just in a vacuum, as they use, I don't know where these terms come from, but in a vacuum, what is it? What do you think it is? Because the reason why we watch Smitty is for that our eye test. It's got to mean something to us, and I got to look at him and say, like, what is it that you think is about Caleb Williams that he's not? It's not just his fault by himself, but what is it about him that gives you pause to say, I just don't see it. I just don't see it right now. Or you do see it right now?
Well, to be quite honest, it's exactly what Bryce Young was going through last year, which is the offensive line, not very good. His receivers aren't separating the ones that are out there. DJ Moore is not. It might be DJ might be playing through something. Robin Dumais is a rookie. Cole Kmet is a tight end, so sometimes he's blocking, not necessarily up on passing routes. DeAndre Swift is very hot and cold. Some games he's pretty streaky. Mm-hmm. But again, you've already hit the nail on the head. Defensive-minded head coach, and we've seen when you have defensive-minded head coaches. Now, don't get me wrong. Let me preface this. C.J. Stroud had a great rookie season with Bobby Slowick as his offensive coordinator, D'Amico Ryan's defensive coach as well. But to me, there's almost as if there's something different about D'Amico Ryan's than like Matt Eberflus or whoever is in Chicago, even if it wasn't Matt Eberflus. Because D'Amico has this aura about him. You can just tell players love playing for him, and he is a dude. Matt Eberflus might look good with the hair and everything, with the beard and stuff, but I don't know about the players playing for him. And I wouldn't say he's lost the locker room. That's not what I'm trying to say, but I don't know what he brings to the Bears. Shane Waldron is their offensive coordinator there, and he's just not impressing me right now. And like you said, the offense just looks lost. It looks like it's, again, Panthers last year, 2023, when Bryce Young was just getting beat the pulp out of him, it looks so hard. And right now for the Bears offense, everything looks hard. And so that's kind of what I'm seeing from Caleb Williams.
The thing, the reason why I ask is, when it comes to a guy like, you could throw him out there from, Trevor Lawrence, number one overall pick, Bryce Young, number one overall pick, Baker Mayfield, and Kyler Murray, and Jared Goff. Sometimes it's not who drafts me. Sometimes we wanted to be, Peyton Manning goes number one overall, Eli Manning goes number one overall. They work out, they win Super Bowls, they become the franchise guys. Well, Kyler Murray is still with his original team. Yeah? But Cliff Kingsbury, his old coach, is not an offensive coordinator with the Commanders. Baker Mayfield is on team like 4, 5, right? because he started off with Cleveland, then he went to Carolina. I think he went to the Rams. Right now, he's over there with Tampa Bay. Sometimes Jameis Winston, number 1 overall pick, goes to the Saints. Now he went to Cleveland. What I'm trying to get at is sometimes where I get drafted is a consequence of how great I was in college. I was so great at college that I went to these bad teams. Well, and how many of these teams that are bad become good? When's the last time Chicago was good? So it's not Caleb Williams' fault. When's the last time the Commanders were good? They had a good season. I want to say RG3's rookie season. So a second overall pick behind Andrew Luck. Had a good rookie season. It's about putting these players in. Why are certain players good? Why is Jaden Daniels good? Why is Lamar Jackson good? Why is Josh Allen good? Why is Jared Goff? Because you are catering to what they do. When you are a rookie, the best scenario to look at is Lamar Jackson. Because from the opening day, they said, we are going to play to his strengths. Yeah, but that means, it doesn't matter how everybody else feels. Those other 10 guys on offense, they better get with it. They better get ready to block. They better get ready to go out there and make some blocks downfield. And guess what? Joe Flacco has moved. Joe Flacco's moved on. Right now, he's still in the NFL over there with the Colts. When it comes to a Caleb Williams, it looks to me, Smitty, like they're trying to make him something he is not. And I'm gonna keep saying this. One of the most overrated phrases in football is making plays outside the pocket. It's easy to just sit in the pocket and throw. Just sit right there. Because, Smitty, that's the one thing I'm seeing even now with Bryce. Bryce is realizing, hey, man, sometimes just step to the left, step to the right, step up, throw. Why? Because as soon as I run to the right or left, I just cut off a whole side of the field. I just cut it off. If you notice, they was running boots yesterday to the left with C.J. Stroud. He has to contort his body because he's right-handed, contort his body to throw it. When I'm watching Caleb Williams, either one, the offense is too wordy or too much for him, or it doesn't fit. So, there was this defense we talked about a couple of weeks ago. We were saying how they were in the 3-4. They probably need to be in a 4-3. They ain't got the right personnel for what they're running. 2 games later, they 2-0 in those games. You know the only thing that makes players buy in, the only things that makes players listen, the only players gonna make players comply is winning. You don't lose locker rooms when you win. You ever heard of Andy Reid lose locker room? Why ain't you heard of Harbaugh or Mike Tomlin? Oh, that's right, because they win. You only hear about the quarter or the teams losing locker rooms or respect when the teams are losing. Well, I don't know if Chicago ever respected their head coach. When he was on Hard Knocks, I'm like, the most exciting thing about him was his haircut. My wife told me that's it. It ain't really much else to talk about. And Nick Saban comes into the facility and he says, hey, coach, what type of advice would you give me on the kid, Caleb Williams? Leave him alone. Give him a chance to grow. You're putting so much on him. This is Chicago, right? The NFC North, we used to only care about one team, and that's the Green Bay Packers. Now, Minnesota's good. Detroit is the best team in the NFC. Taking nothing away from the Eagles, and that's taking nothing away from the Commanders. That's taking nothing away from the 49ers. They're the best team in the NFC. So when it comes to these quarterbacks, like I say, and Bryce Young, when you mentioned it earlier, is there a certain part of you when you're watching him that you're saying, I'm just happy for this young man, no pun intended. I'm just happy for Bryce because you said we said they were gonna go back to him. They did. And do you think he's earned, which I know kind of the answer, do you think he's earned the starting position for the rest of the season, even if he hadn't won these last 2 games?
I do. And I think it's so I think it's the first time that Panther fans like myself and the NFL fans who choose to watch the Carolina Panthers if they're not a fan of the team. I think this is the first time that we are truly seeing Bryce. We saw last year a guy who didn't have a lot of protection, was sacked 62 times, and had no open receivers outside of Adam Thielen occasionally. This year, games 1 and 2, we saw a guy who was timid, was afraid to let go of the ball, was looking down at the line of scrimmage because he was afraid to get sacked, because guess what? He got sacked a lot last year. And training camp's one thing, but they can't touch you. Preseason, same thing. He went against backups, and that's why he looked pretty good starting out. But now he got benched after 2 games, and I think that was the best thing that ever could have happened to him, because he was allowed to reset, and get confidence back and really develop himself from the neck up. And then obviously from the waist up when it comes, or waist down when it comes to like his footwork inside the pocket when he actually did get back out there. You see the footwork now that you saw at Alabama. You see the confidence of releasing the ball. That throw I mentioned to Xavier Legette on 3rd and 10, about the 2 minute left in the game to almost ice the game before we ended up, then punting it after that, unfortunately. He threw the ball before Xavier Legette was out of his break, and he trusted Legette to be there. That was not something Bryce was doing last year, outside of that one game that us Panther fans like to bring up, the Green Bay game. He is so confident that I think, yes, he will be getting the start the rest of the season. And Ben, don't get it twisted. For those of you who don't know, yes, the Panthers are on a bye this coming week. But then they host the undefeated Kansas City Chiefs, who I'm assuming will be 10-0 by the time they come to Bank of America Stadium in 2 weeks. If Bryce Young can go toe-to-toe with Patty Mahomes, even if the Panthers don't win the game, if they can just go toe-to-toe with the Chiefs, that should tell you all you need to know right there. I mean, Bo Nix basically did it. Now he played his butt off. He did it. So if he can do it, why can't Bryce do it?
I'm just saying it's not. Look, because I'm over here listening to you just breaking down Bryce, and the reason why I ask is when you root for a team, you look at players differently. And Bryce Young's situation, I don't like this. Oh, he's already the worst number 1 over. No, he is not. Records only tell half the story. Stats only tell half the story. And I do think that the benching helped him, because sometimes I want to see what his player made of. I want to see his moxie. I want to see what makes him tick. And Bryce Young Bryce Young is not a big dude, and he doesn't get hurt a lot. He seems to take care of himself, because I think now more than ever, 5 wins, 6 wins in an NFL season is not a good year. When you're having 17 games. But you got to look at progress being made. You got to look at how, because his number 1 receiver is Xavier Legette. That's his number 1, a rookie. A rookie is your number 1 receiver. I like Legette now. I think he got a shot to be, Jadeveon Clowney out there making plays, causing picks, and
DJ won him this Sunday. Made his debut for the Panthers. Was number 2 in Minnesota last year behind Danielle Hunter. Actually, I should say he was on the other side of Danielle Hunter last year in Minnesota. That man, go look up his story. I'm not going to waste time on here talking about it, but that man had quad surgery in the offseason, and then he had some other complications, and so this guy has been out for almost half the year and just made his debut for the Panthers last in Germany, in Munich this past yesterday, and he balled out for the Panthers. This was the pass rush that the Panthers have been needing. I think he made Clowney play a different way, because you could just tell Clowney had a different aura about him playing next to DJ Wonnum, and that is a guy who I think the Panthers are going to sorely need the rest of this year if they're going to try to win some games going forward. And obviously we have him signed for next year as well. So, if you allow me to transition, Ben, let's get into the headlines, injuries, transactions over the week, and then we can overreact to what these are. First, some sad news to report, unfortunately. John Robinson, former USC and Rams coach, died at age 89 today. He on Monday in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, complications of pneumonia. So I'm not sure if you're familiar with John Robinson, but he did coach both the Rams and USC. Thoughts and prayers to his family. He had a 104 wins, 35 losses, and 4 ties at USC, 75-68 record with the LA Rams. winning postseason games and contending for championships regularly with both of those teams. He went to 8-1 in the postseason with both UNLV and USC as a head coach, member of the College Football Hall of Fame for 2 consecutive tenures at USC, and was the winningest coach in Rams history during his 9-year tenure with the NFL club. Sean McVay passed him in victories only last month total.
Condolences to his family. I mean, death is definitely a mystery to us all, so condolences to his family.
Well, moving on as best we know how. Kyle Shanahan said Deebo Samuel and Jake Moody are good after that sideline confrontation. You talked about it a little bit there at the top of kind of what that dealt with there. And so I'll let you comment on that if you'd like. Micah Parsons says that he feels bad for guys like Zach Martin and older players on the Dallas Cowboys. He says Mike McCarthy is feel free to leave if he wants to leave, or whether that's coaching the Cowboys or not. He said it's above his pay grade, and so therefore he does not want to comment on those type of rumors. Couple more here. Cowboys sticking with Cooper Rush this week against the Houston Texans. Caleb Williams remaining the starter in Chicago. Keon Coleman will be missing the Bills game against the Chiefs this upcoming Sunday. And finally, Cedric Willis Jr., the Browns, his recent benching was pretty shocking, but it was a business decision to sit out a recent game with a knee injury in favor of DeJuan Jones, the second-year tackle. And he said back on October 27th against the Baltimore Ravens, after he hyperextended his left knee, he decided not to play. After that, Willis said Coach Kevin Stefanski, and I apologize, I'm going long, I'm just giving the readers context here, told him he would no longer start, but instead would serve as a swing tackle. A first-round draft pick back in 2020 out of Alabama has started all 57 games in which he has been healthy for the Cleveland Browns.
And who is this we're talking about?
This is Cedric Willis, the junior, the tackle from the Cleveland Browns. He made a business decision not to play in a recent game, and it might have backfired as now he's been delegated to swing tackle. And so he said, to quote, he said, I made a business decision not to play after the Bengals game going into the Ravens game because I was injured. And then the next week I received the news that I became the new swing tackle. So anyway, we heard business decisions back in week 3 with Antonio Pierce and the Las Vegas Raiders. So I'll let you kind of comment on any of those that I said. Those are some of the news around the league, news and notes around the league. Didn't
like the fact that Deebo Samuels went out this long snap. I know they're going to be good now. I'm pretty sure that behind closed doors, they chopped it up. They professionals. But I get that it's a game of emotion, and sometimes my emotion going to get the best of me. Man, don't put your hands on me, because no matter what, I'm going to look bad if I retaliate against you, and it doesn't make me do my job better just because you feel as though you do most of the work. And let me tell you something. Long snappers are rare. Kickers are rare. Punters are rare. Slot receivers are not. Slot receivers are not rare. You got 2 or 3 more on the team. Let the long snapper get hurt. Watch what happens. Yeah, let him get hurt. Is Deebo going long snap? All right, so please keep your hands on me, Deebo. But I do like the fire. I don't like you put your hands on Micah Parsons. Micah, Mika, I hope I'm not saying your name wrong. This is what happens, Smitty, when a player is as gifted and talented, right, as a Micah Parsons, and he already has a podcast. What are you doing? See, when players have active podcasts and they're active players and they're commenting on your head coach, dude, you already comment. How you gonna say you can go if you want to, but that's above my? You just commented. You go, well, that's above my pay grade. And to me, this is why Dallas don't win, because you got so much stuff. Dak is obviously having season-ending shoulder surgery. Micah ain't played in like 2 or 3 weeks. Wasn't that effective when he was playing now. He wasn't the same Micah, because he's going to get a lot of attention. I'm not saying he ain't a good player. Just ain't been as effective. This is why the circus is always in Dallas. It's always a circus. From Jerry Jones coming down doing press conferences to having the freaking roof open that you can't even see touchdown passes with CD Lamb, the Cooper Rush still being named a starter. May God bless this man, Cooper Rush. Go to church. I know you. Listen, See if you can go to church early game. If y'all got a late game, or if you got a late game, go to either way. Go to church, do something that's gonna be rough. But Michael, come on, man. Keep your head coach name out your mouth, right? Please. It just Caleb Williams is obviously gonna remain the starter. They're gonna keep him in unless he's hurt. I don't know what's going on with Caleb Williams. I do not know. When your offense hasn't scored a touchdown in 23 quarters, something's up. Something's up. And unfortunately, Smitty, there's only so much talking the head coach can do, or your teammates can do. They don't play quarterback. I don't care if it's DJ Moore. I don't care if it's DeAndre Swift. I don't care if it's a Duze. I don't care if it's none of those guys. Keenan Allen, none of them. They cannot play the quarterback position. And once again, less is more. Less of the playbook that he can actually give them some throws. They got to get in the end zone. They got to get in the end zone for 3 reasons. One, for the freaking morale and mental stability of the freaking team. Number 2, Chicago fans, they rough, man. They ain't like Philly fans, but they rough. And number 3, Caleb Williams got to build confidence. I don't know how confident the other players got to be, but the quarterback definitely got to be confident. And sorry to hear about Keon Coleman. I saw he didn't play last game. I don't know what the injury was, but I hope he gets back soon. Cedric Wilson. Okay. Let me show you what Cedric did for hopefully help. When I was in the National Football League, when I first got drafted, the player personnel guy named was Marcus Robinson. He was a former safety, right? I want to say he went to Iowa State. I think Marcus went to Iowa State. He was on that Super Bowl Titans team. He was a starting safety when they went to the Super Bowl against the greatest show on turf. Cedric Wilson made a business decision not to play. Cedric Wilson tells the media, Anthony Richardson, I made a business decision not to play. I'm going to say something to Cedric. The same thing I would say to any player. You're not good enough to do that. You're not good. When I say you're not good enough to do that, I'm talking about make the decision. I'm not talking about playing. You said I made a business decision not to play. Let me tell you when life comes at you fast.
Yeah. Sorry. Just Jarek Willis Jr. I think I finally got
that. Jarek Willis. I remember when Alabama.
Right tackle for the Cleveland Browns. Got it.
Okay. Jarek Willis Jr. Listen, Jarek. The Cleveland Browns aren't good enough for you to make business decisions not to play. I mean, that's what people want to say, right? Like, really? What? I made a business decision not to play. So let me tell you. Let me tell you why people say, "Well, why would Coach Stefanski do that?" Because you just slapped Coach Stefanski in the face. You're telling Coach Stefanski, "I don't think this team is worth me going out there, and I'm not going to put myself in harm's way." You play football. You're in harm's way every practice, every play, every snap. 6 players on the football team don't come off the field. That is the 5 offensive linemen, and that is your quarterback. And like I say, Smitty, the one thing that we have to dominate in sports, and once you lose that, people start getting fired, is perception. If they lose perception that Stefanski has lost the locker room, it's the Browns. I mean, you starting quarterback is Jameis Winston. That's who you went out and paid to be your backup. Whatever. Your starting left tackle, who started since he got there, said, I'm going to make a business decision. Let me tell you something. That's smelling yourself a little bit too much, Jared, because when you do that, you don't say that. The head coach says that. Yeah, we thought it was best in Jared's interest for him not to play. Now, I just made the business decision not to play. Let me tell you something about media. If a media member has a question to ask you answering it, because most of the time in media, you're going to answer questions. They didn't heard it all. That's why they go, if the same person says, if this media member, if Ryan Smith from Winning the Division asked Jared the question, he said, I made a business decision. Then Ben come and say, wait a minute, you did what? He don't get, they trying to get you to say that again. You made a business decision. What is that even? Business decisions are supposed to be, it's the fourth quarter, I don't really want to tackle Derrick Henry. That's a business decision. So now you the swing tackle. Let me tell you when life comes at you fast. They got to practice that next week after the business decision. They said, give me the starting offense. And Jared ran out there. No. Give me the rookie. What? Or The offensive line coach of Cleveland said, "Hey, Jared, I need to talk to you. What? Listen, man, they got you the swing tackle. What? That mean you coming off the bench? For real? We made a business decision, and they run on the field. So, and I'm saying that to say this, people, when you are a pro, when you are a professional, conduct detrimental to the team, that is a very, very bland statement that you could throw a lot of stuff in there. And one thing that is detrimental to the team is the reputation of the team. If you make the reputation of, we are already the Cleveland Browns. You the Cleveland Browns, right? Now I got my starters. You ever heard Myles Garrett do anything like that? The craziest thing Myles Garrett ever did to try to swung on when he took his helmet off and swung at whatever the Kenny that wasn't Kenny Pickett. It was the quarterback for the Pittsburgh Steelers at the time. So I'm saying,
yeah, I think it was Kenny Pickett. I think you're right. Yeah.
Don't do that. Don't embarrass the team. People say, "Well, Ben, what do you mean by embarrassing?" Back when Terrell Owens was talking trash about Donovan McNabb after the Super Bowl, saying he think Donovan McNabb is jealous of him because he played in the Super Bowl, he played with Donovan McNabb didn't play. Andy Reid was the head coach at the time. They suspended Terrell Owens. Terrell Owens goes home, and instead of Terrell Owens going home and just staying in his house, he comes outside and he does an ab workout. And he kept saying, "I love the fans." Don't do that. Because I want to be known for what I did as a football player. I don't want to be known for the gimmick. So, Jared, I'm not trying to scold you or anything. I'm just saying, don't do that. Like, just don't do that. Because, Smitty, you don't want – listen, if you got to win the perception game, you don't want the people have to perceive what you meant. What you think he meant by business decision? And they just start throwing stuff in there. And then Coach Stefanski, they say, "Coach, Jared said, you made a business decision." Yeah, we made a business decision too. Next question. So, just saying. Don't do it.
And then the one I forgot to say in the transactions that I think I just happened to miss over. The Seattle Seahawks, after their bye week, have moved on from their leading tackler Tyrell Dodson in a shakeup at their linebacker position. And so this came after they bye week of 5 out of the last 6 games were losses. And Mike McDonald, first-year coach, said everything is on the table as they self-scouted. And, he had started all 9 games for the Seahawks after signing with Seattle in March. And he was currently their leading tackler on the team, signed a 1-year deal, $4.26 million with Seattle after spending his first 5 years in Buffalo. He recorded his team-high 71 tackles in 9 games, 2 sacks, 5 tackles for loss, 1 forced fumble, and a pair of passes defended. So now Mr. Dodson is on waivers where any player, if he's claimed, Seattle will be off the hook for $1 million off the guaranteed because he's a vested veteran. So
they just – to me, that's a very – I hear the statement, "We just moved on from him." Okay, Coach McDonald, like, what does that mean? Like, we just moved on. Once again, something has happened, and they just give it. We moved on from him. They kind of putting the onus back on him. Unless we don't want to get it. That sounds like we don't want to get into it. All right, moved on. Leading tacklers and moving on from them. Why they do that? In Seattle. Cool.
Yeah,
that's not how you win the division, but.
Well, let's get into – I know we're a little early, but let's get into – unless there was let's go back to the games from this week before we get into the Week 11. I'll ask you a question. What's going on with your Will Levis and the Tennessee Titans? Are they drafting a quarterback? Are they not drafting a quarterback? What's going on with the Tennessee Titans now? 2-7 on the year, 27-17 loss to the Los Angeles Chargers, where they kind of ran them to death, essentially. Out there in LA. Let's talk about the Titans. Titans-Chargers. We didn't talk about the game a lot. I think that was the one game we kind of sort of skipped over. So, but I know you played for the Titans the majority of your career, so hold a special place in your heart. Good Nashville. So talk to me about the Tennessee Titans, your thoughts on your foreign team, and kind of what you're looking for the rest of the season and beyond.
The Titans kind of go with the whole theme of the whole AFC South. There's no identity. None. Jeffrey Simmons made an incredible play. This is how bad it is. Jeffrey Simmons made an incredible play. It was called a good play. Coach Callahan comes to the podium, talked about the good play, to come right back and say, "Oh, got overturned." I think I look at Will Levis, right, and I think to myself, I really, really think to myself, how did this happen? Like, how, when you think about all the quarterbacks that were available, whenever you go back to that draft 2 years ago, Will Levis was talked about being a potential a top 10 pick. You go from top 10 to the second round. There's a reason you win in the second round. Now, there's nothing wrong with going to the second round. I went in the second round. Second rounders are still looked upon as first round talent that look to be starters.
Right.
Mitty, this is how bad the Titans are. People not only don't want to talk about the Titans, they don't know what to say. They're like, I don't know what to say. I really don't. Because this is what the Titans have done. What's his name? That guy that plays for Baltimore. Running back. Derrick Henry. Gone. What's that other guy's name? Yeah, he played for Philly. He plays receiver. A.J. Brown. What's that other guy's name? Played for the Titans. Kevin Byard. What's the other guy's name? He plays for Kansas City now. Receiver. DeAndre Hopkins. You get rid of these people. That's who you get rid of. And you wonder why it's hard to generate any offense. Calvin Ridley, I get it, right? But the thing about Will Levis is, I think his confidence is shot. I think it's done. I think that Will Levis goes into a game hoping and praying that he doesn't make a mistake, and while he might not be the reason why the team is winning, he don't want to be the reason why the team is losing. You can't win like that, because the Titans are gonna. Let me say that we can have a bottom feeders show, and people say, well, what teams will be on the bottom feeder show? Oh, the Raiders, the Giants, the Cowboys, the Jets, the Browns, the Jags, the Titans, the Bears, the Patriots, the Colts, right? But the thing about it is, Rand Carthon, a former teammate of mine, we played in Florida for 4 years. He got there in 99. I got there in 2000. We both were seniors in 2003. Rand Carthon is now the first black GM in Tennessee Titans history. Rand Carthon's daddy was we got drafted in 2004. Rand Carthon went as an undrafted free agent, and his daddy was the current Dallas Cowboys offensive coordinator. Rand spent a lot of money this offseason. Mm-hmm. It hasn't paid off one bit. I'm talking about zilch, nada, nothing. Now, that's not Rand's fault. I'm not blaming Rand.
Yeah.
But Smitty, listen, let me tell you something. It don't matter what you put around the quarterback. You got to have one. It doesn't matter what you put around him. It's like this, right? We can go to a real nice restaurant. We dress to the nines, right? And the food is late. The food is nasty, and the food is cold. That is the Titans. That is the Titans in a nutshell. Right? The food is late. I mean, how long we been here? The food is nasty. And the food is cold. And the service is bad. Right? And was no parking outside. Right? And I think that's the thing. As a person that played with the Titans, who understand when you in a small media market on a team that's not a media darling, like the Titans are a part of the Titans are a part of the NFL fabric. They don't help push the NFL culture at all. Like
that's the Panthers. Yep.
So for me, when I think about Will Levis is a byproduct of where he is, how he plays, and the team. They don't have the head coach. They don't have the culture. They don't have the team around him. How do you know that stuff matters? I know a player just threw 5 picks and they still won. That is a culture. If Will Levis threw 5 picks, Will Levis ain't throw no picks on Sunday. And they still think about that. One team threw 5 picks and they won. Other guy threw 2 touchdowns and they lost. Because I just think for me right now, when it comes to the Titans, if you have no offensive identity, no defensive identity, no team identity, you're going to lose. Coach Callahan don't got no identity. Now, we don't know who he is as a head coach. It's his first year. Guess what? Coach Harbaugh first year. Right? He's found Coach Canales is his first year with the Panthers. He got 3 wins. That means something. And so I say, look, the Titans are The Titans are a sandwich with no condiments on it. It's like a ham sandwich. No mustard, no mayo, no lettuce, no nothing. Mm-hmm. Now you can eat it. Right. But the problem is the person next to you, they got a sandwich with the works. And you can't. And they looking at you, they look at you and say, "You want a bite?" No, why? Because I don't even want to taste something that tastes right. Because this is my sandwich. This is what I'm eating until it gets better. And until we add some condiments to it, it's gonna be the same bland. Hey man, what would you have today? Man, just give me the sandwich, just bread. Don't even put no cheese on it. For real, man, that's all you want. All the condiments right here. Nah.
Yeah. Okay. All right. That's very good. Okay. Any comment on the Buffalo Colts game? 30-20. Josh Allen threw 2 picks, 280 yards passing. Flacco.
I think it might be time to move on.
3 interceptions, including a pick 6 first play. Of the game.
Yeah, I think the Joe Flacco experiment has come to a close. I think it's something. I think it's more to the Anthony Richardson situation, and maybe it'll come out later because Joe Flacco is not a better option than Anthony Richardson. Anthony Richardson was just playing that bad. I get it. I need a breather. That's easy to take him out because Joe Flacco is not playing good. Joe Flacco is playing his age right now. So yep. I think hoping they go back to Anthony Richardson. But once again, the Colts, I think they have more of an identity than the Titans, but it ain't much though. They it's the same sandwich with cheese on it, and you can't pick your cheese. They're going to pick it. Hey, man, let me get the provolone. Sorry, fresh out. Let me get the Swiss. Sorry. What you guys got? We got Kraft slices. You go, yeah. I can see the cheese right here. No. Go get them. And I see them do the little pack, pull the little clear thing on. That's the Colts, man. And Jacksonville, theirs is a fish sandwich with no tartar sauce on it. It's a fish sandwich down there. Ain't no tartar sauce on it, though. It's bland too. Bland.
And then we talked already about this game, probably one of the best of the day yesterday, Steelers over the Commanders. Did you get a chance to see was it a controversial 4th down call there at the end of the game?
Yeah.
Steelers line of measurement. That's not really my question. I was just going to bring that up. But my real question is, after you answer that, is how did you think Jaden Daniels played? Because this was probably his first, I would say, subpar game of the season. And they lost, obviously, by a point, which everyone's going to talk about. But, 17-34, 202 yards passing. And Austin Eckler had both touchdowns for the Commanders on the ground.
Well, I will say the Pittsburgh Steelers have made a lot of quarterbacks look very, very, mediocre this year. I think that's how good Jaden Daniels is, that we forget that he's a rookie. We just expect that magic to show itself. But he didn't play up to what we've grown to see him, even though it's been one sample size season right now. But I think the talk of the game was Russell Wilson, and you kind of see why Mike Tomlin went to him away from Justin Fields, because the offense is more in rhythm when he's out there. Yes, they both improvise, and I got to say this. George Pickens is one of the best receivers in the NFL. This dude makes some catches every week that just he's hot on the collar now. But I heard some they added Mike Williams. Remember we kept saying who's gonna go? Mike Williams ended up going to Pittsburgh. But that 4th down. Listen, with these cameras and angles and refs, we still get it wrong. It's like, are they looking at the same thing we looking at?
And then the other game, the other call I think people got wind of, which was a little back now, was that Thursday night with Joe Burrow on that 2-point conversion. So I think it was Colin Cowherd who said it on his show. Now I don't quote me exactly what Colin Cowherd said, but I think he said something like, this is the backup tight end, that he's throwing to here. They're not going to call it. If it was Jamar Chase or somebody,
I'm about to say it matters. They got Patrick Mahomes on a hot mic telling the ref, "Could you tell me when they're getting close to me? When they kind of get close." It's like, look, we know that stars run leagues. Let's not. Patrick Mahomes. If you hit him in his collarbone and his neck even buckle up, hit him too hard. For backup tight ends. Yeah, you got to earn. The refs ain't gonna say it, but the same way the refs earn stripes by being out there, you got to earn some stripes before you get them calls, young man.
Yep. And then Joe Burrow even said it after the game. He wasn't expecting the call. There was no complaint from him.
Yeah, Joe Burrow don't seem like a big excuse maker. Like he don't mind calling his teammates out. But I will say this: the front office of the Bengals, y'all messed up by not paying Jamar Chase.
They're going up.
Y'all should have paid him when you had the chance. Because now
it's going up. It's going up.
It's going to be called Jamar Chase Bank and Trust. Cha-ching.
Yes, it is. Well, Ben, let's get into Week 11 preview games for Week number 11. Best of your top 5 games, and then a toilet bowl if you got one. I will actually. I always jump the gun here. Before we get into that, Thursday Night Football coming up in just 3 short days, starting off Week 11, is the Commanders at 7-3 at the Philadelphia Eagles 7-2 there in Lincoln Financial Field on Thursday, November 14th. So talk to me about this game really quick. Preview it for us for Thursday night, and what are you looking for this one?
I think the world's going to be in for a treat. I think you're talking about future face of the National Football League and a guy like Jaden Daniels, who's definitely taking this Commanders franchise to another level from expectation. It's bigger than just perception. He is good as advertised. You're going to have to find a way to keep this young man healthy because he is lights out. But I do think that this Eagles defense is going to have a lot to deal with him, a guy that can make plays with his feet, make plays with his arm, and seems to be very confident in this Cliff Kingsbury system. But I think he's going to go up against a better team with the Eagles. The Eagles defense is good, not great. This Eagles offense, everybody say what makes them go is Saquon. I think what makes them go is AJ Brown. I don't think there's nothing you can do with number 11 out there. Jalen Hurts continues to get better, and it's always going to be the curious case of Nick Sirianni. Nick Sirianni to me is he's a very weird coach because I think he's built to be a head coach for the Philadelphia Eagles, but sometimes his game management, play calling, or decision making ain't the best. But I do think it's going to be a good Thursday night game. Sometimes we watch Thursday night strictly because it's the NFL game. I think you got a good matchup between two teams, in my opinion. While I definitely know who's the best team in the NFC, we talk about 2 and 3 going up against each other. For who's going to get that cry. A division game on Thursday night.
Yep. All right, now let's get into the top 5 games of Week number 11 Toilet Bowl. If you got it, and I'll let you start us off, Ben, for Week 11.
I'm going to just go ahead and get these toilet bowl games out the way. I mean, we got the Colts and the Jets. I mean, we got the 2 oldest quarterbacks going up against each other. Literally. The only person older than Joe Flacco is Aaron Rodgers. That's it. No one else is older than him, so you got the Colts. So basically, both locker rooms are going to be smelling like Ben Gay. It's going to be lit up. I mean, Jared Tall, just get ready. My second toilet ball game is Browns and the Saints. You the former Saint, Jameis Winston, going back to New Orleans.
Hey, that's a storyline.
It is a storyline. And listen, and shout out to Alvin Kamara, became the all-time leading rusher for the New Orleans Saints. Even though I'm not a Saints fan, I can't stand them. Shout out to Alvin Kamara, Georgia boy, Georgia native. Shout out to him. But let me give you my top 5 games. My number 5, Seahawks 49ers. Rivalry, old school rivalry that don't get a lot of hope. I don't know if DK Metcalf is still hurt. If he is, it's going to be a long game. Shout out to but it should be a good game. Seahawks 49ers, a nice little rivalry game that don't get enough love. My number 4, another rivalry game, but even though it's lost some luster, Packers Bears. I want to see if these Bears teams can get in the end zone. Like, what is going on? 23 quarters not scoring an offensive touchdown. That is crazy. Caleb Williams, you don't become somebody different in 3 days, but we're gonna need you to go out there and be super against the Packers team. I don't know if Love is going to be there or if they got to go with Malik Willis, but the Packers have been playing well. As we mentioned, Thursday Night Football is my number 3. Commanders and Eagles for everything I just said. Division game. You got a current facing league, and Jalen Hurts has been to a Super Bowl versus the up-and-comer number 2 overall pick, and Jaden Daniels should be fireworks. My number 2, number 1 in the division versus number 2 in the division, Ravens-Steelers. It might be the best rivalry in football. I mean, I want to say Patrick Queen used to play for the Ravens. Now he plays for the Steelers. I'm just looking forward to some fight. Marlon Humphrey versus George Pickens, Lamar Jackson versus TJ Watt in that defense. I'm looking forward to the chess match with Tomlin and Harbaugh. It should be great. And my number 1, Chiefs Bills. Look, Josh Allen. Joe Burrow didn't beat him. Lamar Jackson didn't beat him. Josh Allen, it's your time, sir.
You can do it.
Somebody gonna have to beat Kansas City. Not that Kansas City cares about going undefeated; they'll take the win. But I think it's gonna be a really, really good game for a Bills team that seems to be more well-rounded. Doesn't mean you're being well-rounded. Don't mean anything. Because Kansas City, they can beat you in any kind of way. You want us to run the ball, you want to throw the ball, you want to do a defense, you want us to do it, a sluggish, ugly game. You want us to win 16-14, and we block a field goal. Can do that too. But I do think it's going to be the game of the week. Chiefs, Bills 1, Ravens, Steelers 2, Commanders, Eagles 3, Packers, Bears 4, Steelers, 49ers rounds out my number 5 games to watch.
My list is pretty similar to yours. Slight differences, I think, on the order, but overall pretty much the similar. I throw the ball, like you said, Colts, Jets, 2 oldest quarterbacks playing against each other. Not going to be a fun game unless you're Jets or Colts fan, and even then, it may not be a fun game for you either. I just had one toilet bowl game. My number 5 is going to be Commanders Eagles. That is going to be a pretty good game on Thursday night football kickoff week number 11. Like you said, the up-and-comer Jaden Daniels versus the old vet at this point, Jalen Hurts, with a Super Bowl appearance 2 years ago. Number 4, I've got the Packers-Bears at number 4, the old school rivalry up in Chicago. Like you said, lost its luster a little bit over the years, but hey, Aaron Rodgers doesn't have to play for the Packers. He still owns the Bears. He still owns them. There's somewhere in Soldier.
Right, yeah. He's talking about owning all that real estate.
Yeah. He still owns them. My number 3, Seahawks 49ers, great game. Like you said, another old school rivalry in the NFC West, up there in Santa Clara, California. 4 or 5 Eastern Standard Time. Brock Purdy versus Geno Smith. We'll see if DK Metcalf can come back and provide a spark. The Seahawks surely do need him at this point because they are 4-5 after starting 3-0 on the season. Number 2 is Ravens Steelers 7-3 versus 7-2. Can't believe it's a 1:00 game on CBS. That's a shame. That should be a 4:00 game, but that's just me into the marketing media weeds there. Lamar Jackson versus Russell Wilson, like you said, who's playing. Yep, who playing good ball. And Mike Tomlin with the line of the century. Yeah, that's why they pay me to make they give me the money to make those decisions. That's why I get paid what I paid. It's just Mike Tomlin.
And his second best line was they said what did they asked him? They said, Coach, man, I mean, when you see Jaden Daniels, what about Jaden Daniels remind you of Lamar Jackson? He says 2-time MVP Lamar Jackson. That is, he says his name is Mr. Jackson. Yeah. I was like, Mike Tomlin could do a master class on media like relations or whatever. He is the swag that Bill Belichick never had. Love it.
Absolutely. And my number 1 is your number 1, Chiefs Bills in Buffalo this time, not Kansas City. So we likely not going to get that 13-second game that we got a few seasons back ago with Tyreek Hill on the team. I think that was good as well. Statistically, he's having one of his worst seasons right now.
Yeah.
So anyway, those are my top 5 games for week number 11. As we go out the door, Ben, a couple of news and notes I'll give you really quick, and then anything else you want to kind of discuss, and then I'll let you close this out. Bengals attempted to sign both Leonard Fournette and Xavier Howard today, cornerback. Both were unsuccessful signings after a good workout. So Bengals going to keep chopping wood, trying to bring in some extra depth at those positions. Those are obviously notable names, which is why obviously that made the transaction wire. Rate, review, subscribe, wherever you get your podcast. Look forward to, again, your comments, your questions. What do you want us to get to? What do you want us to overreact to? This is Winning the Division. Ryan Smith, Ben Troupe. I'll let Ben close this out. But again, we just enjoy bringing this content to you guys and enjoy doing this every single week. Ben, before we got the door, anything else you want to hit on for episode number 12?
No, episode number 12, great show. I always, fun kicking it with you, Smitty, man. As always, listen, times have really changed when your Panthers coming in with a dub and my Falcons coming in with a loss. And listen, if everybody thinking, have we played y'all yet this year? Have Atlanta played the Panthers yet this year?
Yeah, in Charlotte.
But we got y'all again. And that's not, listen, and I'm not booking it as a win either. I'm just telling you right now. But the one thing about winning the division, you guys, as Smitty said, make sure you like, share, and subscribe. But listen, hit us up in the comments. Let us know what you want to hear. Let us know if it's somebody you want us to bring on. Give us some topics that you want us to touch on. Nothing, as long as it's NFL, whether it's transactions, whether it's injuries, whether it's coaches, players, games, schemes, teams, we talking about it all. But like we say, listen, you either in the division or you are winning the division. And most of our teams are just in the division right now. We ain't winning it. But if you are looking for the no country for old men game, you got the Jets versus the Colts, Joe versus Aaron. Just look for the wheelchairs, walking through. Just playing. No, we appreciate you guys always spending your time with us, man. We have a lot of fun on winning the division, and like I say, man, we only gonna get better at it, have more fun with it. And if you a team that matter in the NFL, congratulations. If you a team that's just in the NFL, like my Falcons, like my Titans, good Lord, hey, keep enjoying yourself no matter what, man. We enjoy coming on with you guys every week, man. I am Ben Troupe. He is Ryan Smitty Smith, a.k.a. the farmer, because he plants seeds.
All right, this is winning the division, and we will see you guys next time.